Soldiers from wars both old and new march down city streets. Flags hang from homes, businesses, even car antennas. Ceremonies remember those who dutifully served their nation. It's Veterans Day, or Remembrance Day, as it's known in much of the world, a time to honor members of the armed forces. And it all began in a railroad car with a document to end the war to end all wars. World War I, also known as the Great War, shocked the global community with its unprecedented toll in human life. Untold millions were killed. Germany was running low on manpower and supplies, so they agreed to sign an armistice, or truce, in the French commander Ferdinand Foch's private rail car. On the 11th hour, on the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918, all was quiet on the Western Front. The fighting had ended. Exactly 1 year later, President Woodrow Wilson decreed that Americans should observe a moment of silence at 11 a.m. to remember the armistice and to embrace the peace. Other Allied nations commemorated the peaceful anniversary as well. In England and Canada, citizens wore paper poppies. Poppies had become a symbol of the armistice. The poem Flanders Field described a one-time battlefield. In Flanders Field, the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row. In America, the nation's first unknown soldier was laid to rest at Arlington National Cemetery on Armistice Day, 1921. He was a casualty of the Great War. Since that first memorial, other unknown soldiers from America's wars have been interred in the tomb. And it's become tradition for the president or one of his representatives to lay a wreath on the monument every November 11th. A resolution was passed in 1926 inviting all Americans to remember Armistice Day and the soldiers who fought so hard for peace. The idea caught on. By 1938, the day was marked with so many ceremonies and parades, Congress made it a legal holiday, giving people the day off work. After World War II and the Korean War, Americans wanted to open up the holiday to include not just World War I veterans, but all who served in combat. In 1954, President Dwight Eisenhower, a World War II vet himself, legally changed the U.S. Armistice Day to Veterans Day, honoring those who served in all American wars.
What does Veterans Day mean to you?
Well, Veterans Day means, all the sacrifices that our men and women in the service have given, all the freedoms we enjoy, everything we have right now that we love. It's all because of the veterans that, some cases gave the ultimate sacrifice so that we can enjoy, life as we know it. That's what Veterans Day means to me. It's a special day to me too. My dad is a veteran. His brother got killed at Dutch Harbor during the Battle of Midway. So, Veterans Day, it's big. It's a big thing in my family, and it's a very important day that we need to, stop and commemorate these people.
Today celebrates the fact that we're able to do everything we're doing right here, including this interview, because of what somebody did. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I believe in. Thank you.
To me, it means respecting and paying honor to those that have served our country and fighting for the freedoms we have today.
What it means to me personally is my father being a survivor. He was a World War II vet, and he fought on the island of Iwo Jima. And his generation was one where they didn't talk about it, So just grateful that my father survived that, because without that I wouldn't be here. Yeah, Yeah.
It's a day to remember all the people that have served our country, especially those that gave the ultimate sacrifice. And as far as personally what it means to me is we are a family of veterans. My dad and father-in-law were both in the Air Force. My husband was in the Air Force, so I have a lot of family members that are veterans. So we just need to remember them and uplift them on that day.
What branch did you serve in?
U.S. Army, infantry, R.
How old were you when you started?
I joined late. Didn't go to college because I was fooling around on motorcycles and stuff. So I joined when I was 28. So everybody else was 17. I was 28. The drill sergeants.
How long did you serve for?
Altogether, about 17 years.
And what does Veterans Day mean to you?
It didn't mean anything to me. I think the first time something like patriotism really hit me was getting off the plane in another country and not being an American anymore. I was in another country but representing America. I think the first time I saw the American flag go up, it meant something else, and that's when it first hit me. So I think anytime anybody wants to do any kind of service for the country, that's when it hits them, because they're reminded that's what they're doing it for.
What branch did you serve in?
I served in the U.S. Army, was in the Corps of Engineers from 73 to 78.
How old were you when you joined?
I actually joined when I went into college because the Army basically paid my way through the university. So I was 19 when I joined, but was 22 when I actually began my service.
What does it mean to you to be a veteran?
To be a veteran, initially I was there because it was a convenient way to pay for my university education. But it was during the Vietnam War, but for some reason that never was a consideration that for me attending the university or having an Army commitment.
What does Veterans Day mean to you?
Veterans Day is an important day for me in the sense that I think it's important for many men and women that did serve in the armed forces. Many of them may have had reasons like mine. They were looking for a job and just an opportunity at that point when perhaps nothing else was available to them. But ultimately, they were doing the same thing I did. They were offering themselves to perhaps give their life when called upon, or to fight for this country.